Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Mark Wrong Tower, this is Albatross 1-3, requesting permission to land, over.
I don't need a computer to tell me how to land a damn airplane.
6.
Heads-up display, check.
5,
Lasers, check.
4,
Particle beam, check.
3,
Proton bolts, check.
2,
Chair control, check.
1.
Let's do it.
Broadcasting from a secret underground location somewhere in Mos Eisley. This is the Docking Bay 77 podcast. Make yourself comfortable. The show is about to start. Hello and welcome to the Docking Bay 77 podcast. I am your host, Dayton Johnson. Now, I ain't cheap, but I can be had. My minimum price for taking a stranded lady to a telephone is $400. If you recognize that quote, then you know we're discussing the 1984 movie directed by Robert Zemeckis and starring Michael Douglas, Kathleen Turner, and Danny DeVito. So grab the map and jump onto Little Mule Pepe because we are romancing the stone.
I'm getting out of this jungle dump. I am fed up to here with this treasure hunt business. Yeah. Ira, you miserable worm, you lied to me. You said she was a city girl, out of her element. Just get her in the map and bring them back. Piece of cake. Piece of cake, my butt. What went wrong? I'll tell you what went wrong. First of all, guess who else is here? You're dead right, Solo. What? Secondly, she's got herself a partner who likes shooting holes and everything.
The minimum price for taking a stranded woman to a telephone is $400.
$375 in traveler's checks?
Got a deal.
That's just the beginning of what's going on down here. There's nothing you can say that'll make me go back into that hellhole. Don't bring that up, Ira. Ira, stop it! All right, I'll go back. But this time, you're coming with me.
I am not alone on this adventure. Through the jungles of Colombia, I've brought along my own Elaine and Joan Wilder. I'll let them decide who is who. Please welcome Nicole and Tessa from the Doom generation. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you for being here. So real quick, for some of my listeners that may or may not, know who you guys are, why don't you tell everybody what your podcast is all about?
All right, Nicole.
I'm the spokesperson.
I know.
Right?
Well, you remember all the things because you do the Doom biz. So just do the Doom biz.
So yeah, we basically recap for the most part, like 95% of what we do is the movies that we grew up with. And so it's anywhere between the 50s all the way up to, I think 2001 is the cap we've put on it right now. Like once we were adults, because I turned 21 in 2001. So it's like anything prior to that was like something we grew up with in our childhood that would have been a formative thing that we feel doomed us in some way. And like we're lighter and heavier on that depending on the movie. For some of us, it's just we just love this movie. Right. And it didn't doom us. We just really wanted to talk about this movie. Exactly. Like I don't think The Money Pit really doomed us. It was just like, let's talk about physical comedy, Tom Hanks. Like I loved
let's just do that, right?
Yeah. I loved chaotic Tom Hanks. Where'd he go?
Right. I know The Money Pit made me not want to own a home for a very long time because I was afraid that was going to happen.
That's what we said. We said it doomed us to be renters. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, I just finished your Drop Dead Fred episode.
Oh, excellent.
So much fun. So much fun. I was excited when that movie was coming out because I was and still am a very big Young Ones fan. So seeing Rick Mayall in an American movie, I was like, oh, I'm so excited. So very totally. Cool. I have the Young Ones DVDs, so I can watch him whenever I want.
Need to get those. I find them when I'm in the mood. I find a way to watch them. But I've been watching Bottom on Prime, which is Rick Mayall and Adrian Edmondson from the Young Ones.
Right.
And just like I think it came out in 91 or something, so several years later. But same sense of humor, same dynamic as the Young Ones. So if you love Rick Mayall and haven't seen that, that's all on Prime.
All right, I'll check that out.
Right.
I know when I was watching Absolutely Fabulous, Adrian Edmondson would pop up there and every once in a while, and I didn't recognize him at first because he didn't have the stars on his head and his hair.
Right.
I was like, okay, wait, I recognize that voice. Why do I recognize it? Anyway, but yeah.
And
it's Vivian.
He's married to
he's married to Jennifer Saunders.
That's right. That's right. I guess that they just everybody over there knows each other when it comes to their TV shows because they all seem to be rotating through them. So, all right. Very cool. Well, once again, thank you for being on here. And so like I said, we are discussing the Romancing the Stone. And so first of all, we want to say happy birthday to director Robert Zemeckis. His birthday is May 14th, 1952. So that was the reason I chose this movie for this particular month. I have some facts about the movie before we get into what we like and don't like and all that kind of fun stuff. It was released on March 30th, 1984. Of course, like I said, starring Michael Douglas, Danny DeVito, and Kathleen Turner, and directed by Zemeckis. It was actually produced by Michael Douglas, who initially wasn't going to star in the movie, but decided after he couldn't find anybody that wanted to be in or that he wanted, he would just go ahead and play the part. On an estimated budget of $10 million, it made $86 million. So that's a pretty good return on investment, I'd say. So the studio executives at Fox were so convinced that the movie would be a flop that Zemeckis was actually removed as director of Cocoon before the movie was even finished. So that's kind of harsh.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
So, yeah, of course, Ron Howard would go on to direct Cocoon. But the good news is because it was so successful, he got to go on and make Back to the Future. So I think it worked out for everybody.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah, that's
perfect.
a good trade-off.
If not for that, we may not have Back to the Future. So that works for me. Or at least not the way we remember it. Yeah.
Eddie Grant, the guy best known for the song Electric Avenue, was actually hired to write and perform the title song, Romancing the Stone. Apparently the producers weren't all that keen on it, so they didn't actually use it anywhere in the movie except for one scene. When they go in the bellmaker's house, you can hear the guitar solo playing as they walk across his nice little patio area. So that's the only place, and you can see it on YouTube. You can find it, but after the success of the movie, Eddie Grant actually released it on his own. Diane Thomas was working as a waitress when she was writing the script for Romancing the Stone, and Michael Douglas came across her and bought the script for $250,000, which is quite a payday in the early 80s for never.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, geez, apparently she was able to quit her job as a waitress, which is nice. That would be nice if somebody would do that for me. I could quit carrying mail.
I'll take $250,000.
Right, sure.
Right,
that's a good use.
She was not a story.
Right. Unfortunately, she was not available to work on the movie's sequel because she was working on the Steven Spielberg movie Always. Unfortunately,
yeah, I don't think I'm familiar with that one.
Oh yeah, that's that was the last feature film to feature Audrey Hepburn, and it's the one where it's the one where let's see, Richard Dreyfuss is in it and John Goodman, and they're pilots. Oh shoot, it's been forever since I've seen that one.
Okay, that's ringing a bell. Ringing a bell. I don't know if I've seen it, but I remember the previews or something.
Yeah, it's one of the ones that kind of people forget about with Steven Spielberg. So I forgot the plot and you forgot the movie, so I just proved my point. But anyway,
we're right on track. We're right where we need to be.
She was working on that. We are not perfect, and that's okay. Let's see. She died in a car accident 6 weeks before the sequel opened. She was actually a passenger in the Porsche that Michael Douglas bought her as a thank you gift. So that's kind of terrible and weird and coincidental and everything else. But apparently her boyfriend was actually driving the car. She wasn't. So yeah. Well, such a young talent, gone too soon. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Right. Yeah.
So some woulda, coulda, shouldas. We have people that were considered for some of these roles. Clint Eastwood, Jack Nicholson, and Christopher Reeve all turned down the role of Jack T. Colton. Those are some odd choices. Now, Sylvester Stallone turned it down in favor of the movie Rhinestone with Dolly Parton.
Better choice.
Well, if you think you can work with Dolly Parton, I mean, come on.
You go work with Dolly Parton. That's just what you do.
Yeah, I mean,
he made the right decision.
Yeah, he did say later he regretted it, but you know what? I don't think the movie's I don't think the movie's the same with him. No, I don't think it's the same with him.
No, I don't think it's the same movie with him. Like that's a completely different vibe. I think.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, because at that point, I mean, he was trying to get into the humor stuff, so I don't know. I think his action side would have come out a little bit too much in this one. So,
Well,
Also,
I mean, trudging through the jungle like that would probably be like kind of a throwback to some Rambo.
He would have snapped into his own Rambo back into Rambo.
Right.
That'd
Yeah.
have been very ugly. So apparently Jessica Lange also turned down the role of Joan Wilder. She said she wanted to do more serious work instead. I'm like, well, whatever.
I mean, I guess like I could see that.
I could see her as I could see
yeah.
her.
I still like Kathleen Turner better, but that's okay. I could have seen her do it.
Well,
That's
I mean,
true.
the combination of the two of them together in this movie is like they're like what did I say? The Hepburn and Tracy.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
the
the
80s.
Michael Douglas and
because I saw it when I was really young.
Yeah, I
like,
used to think they were a couple
married, and they just did stuff like this.
Because they
is what
did
I
so
thought.
many movies together. I just assumed they were like, it's just like a husband and wife who make
Yeah.
movies together.
Yeah.
Team.
And then we looked it up and it was like, no, they were
No.
never a couple.
Nope. Nope. Mm.
Well, that's okay. Yeah, they definitely have that feeling. They definitely have the chemistry to make it look, that I believe that. I could buy that.
Oh yeah, right.
Okay, so for people that may not know the movie, I have the synopsis right here on the back of my DVD copy. Romance novelist Joan Wilder lives for and in a fantasy world, but when her sister is kidnapped in Colombia and the only chance to save her is to bring a treasure map to her captors, reality quickly becomes stranger than fiction. Thrown into a jungle full of gunfire, mudslides, and a poisonous snake, Joan's only hope lies with Jack Colton, a rugged wanderer straight out of her novels. Together, they'll have to outwit the bandits and survive the jungle if they're to save her sister and find the secret of El Corazon. When and where did you guys see this movie for the first time?
We were talking about it, and I feel like from a very young age, this was just something that came on TV that my parents would watch or something, and I saw it probably a lot of times between 8 and 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say like between 6
So
and
late
8,
80s?
like, in the late 80s.
So yeah, once it was out on cable and it was like I definitely didn't see it in the theater because I would have been like 4.
Yeah, no, I definitely didn't.
Yeah.
No, my parents were not taking me to see Romancing the Stone.
I mean, I don't know. My parents might have. They
Right.
took me to say a lot. They took me to see a lot of stuff that probably wasn't for a 4-year-old. But
Well,
no, I don't think I was clamoring for give me my Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner. But yeah, so but
like
probably
on,
by
on
8.
cable television, by the time I was 8 years old, I would have seen this movie multiple times.
Okay. All right. Well,
And
see,
Jewel of the Nile, probably.
Yeah, that one too.
Yeah, that was I saw that one. I rented that one or saw it on cable, but I actually am old enough and did see this in the theater. I was 13 at the time, and I couldn't wait to see it because I was very much a huge Raiders of the Lost Ark fan, and I thought this had the kind of the similar vibe. So I was going to see it, and then yes, after I saw it in the theater, I must have rented it every chance I got, and then every time it came on cable and TV, I watched it, and so yeah, I must have seen it at least 20 times through the 80s because it was on cable, and so yeah, it's a great movie, and still to this day, and I still enjoy it, and that's why I went out and bought a copy of it as well.
Well, and that was like how you were saying, like, what is this? This was Michael Douglas's, like,
I know, because I didn't know
Indiana Jones.
I didn't know he didn't like plan to be in it.
Right.
And so
Right.
because it was like produced by, I was all, ooh, is this Michael Douglas's attempt to
Right,
like make
he was
himself an
gonna be-
Indiana Jones
Right,
character?
like, he was
Going to start his own line of
decide
movies?
to like take on that kind
Screw
of
you,
role.
Harrison.
Right.
I could be an action hero too.
Because he's not like an imposing figure. Like,
No.
No, I mean,
he's
he
kind
was
of an
built nicely,
everyman.
but he wasn't like a big old hulking.
And like how you were saying, like him not being necessarily attractive to you as like a child,
Right.
like that he was supposed
But you knew
to
he was
be.
supposed to be a
He
good
had
looking
that
dude.
leading
Right.
man
Yeah.
thing, you know.
But I don't remember as a little kid being like, oh,
Ooh,
Michael
yeah, no.
Douglas.
No, I
No,
get that.
not like Harrison Ford.
Not
Right.
like, yes, I was like that about Harrison
Yes,
Ford from the time
for sure.
as young as I can remember.
Mhm.
It was Han Solo, it was Indiana Jones all the
yes,
way.
ma'am.
Yep.
Yep. And I can't fault you for that. So I completely understand. No, it's funny because growing up, I remember seeing Michael Douglas in movies, but as I got older, I realized that he was actually a producer before he was an actor. Produced One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and got an Oscar as producer for
I
that.
know that.
Did
Yeah.
not know that. Wow.
He's so he really wasn't trying to be an actor. He's trying to be a movie producer, and ultimately was quite successful at it. So
Yeah,
Right.
I would say. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Successful at both,
Mhm.
apparently.
yeah, apparently
Yeah.
so. And apparently good enough to marry Catherine Zeta-Jones and keep her after. So I mean, come on.
Right?
Well,
They're
Not to-
still married, right?
Yeah, I
They're
think
They
so.
are
Yeah,
still married.
think
Yes,
so.
they
Yeah.
are.
They got
Yeah.
a couple kids and whatever,
Yeah.
like grown kids.
yeah.
Yeah.
Grownish.
Yeah.
Some might still be teenagers. I'm not
Yeah, I
sure.
think one of them's still a teenager.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's
like
remember.
that's
old
grown up enough
teenager.
nowadays, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like an older teenager, practical adults. I
Right.
mean, you know.
I'm practically an adult now. Anyway. Okay.
I know. I'm
almost there. Almost.
I keep trying. I'm getting closer every day.
Oh, God damn it. What a ride, huh? I'm telling you, this has turned out to be one hell of a morning. You okay? I said, are you hurt? What's the matter? You paralyzed from the neck up? Are you hurt? No! Good! What's your name?
I'm Joe Wilder.
Joan Wilder! Welcome to Columbia.
So let's move on to what we like about the movie. So Nicole, why don't you start us off?
I mean, the action sequences, it has some good ones. That mudslide.
Oh, yeah.
That the chase with I just keep calling him El Jefe.
I know.
Well, they never
was El
name
Jefe
him.
and Three Amigos.
Yeah,
He was El
right,
Jefe
right.
and Three Amigos, and so to me, I'm like, oh, it's El Jefe. It's
El
fucking
Jefe.
awesome. But yeah, a lot of the action stuff. I'm not really a romance movie person, so the romance stuff I could give or take. Like, I don't really care. I liked the chomping his hand off, the alligator chomping his hand off, Jewel.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And him showing up in like the alligator skin boots.
Yes, those boots. That whole
Scene. Yeah.
It's got like it's like a fantasy movie. It's like a whole, like like a little adventure fantasy. Like it's a fun movie. Like that's what.
And I really appreciated there was one moment that I felt like stood out for likes, that was so when he's going to leave her because the cops are there and this is the guy got his hand bit off and he's dead and whatever. And she's like, are you really gonna leave me? And he's like, you're okay. Like, you're gonna be okay.
Right.
And I was like, see, like he's empowering her. Like, girl, you don't need a man.
You can do this.
You can do this. You
come a
did
long
all of
way
this
from the
stuff.
beginning of this,
And she
adventure.
fought off that dude without him. Like,
That's
she couldn't
right.
get up there.
Yeah.
And he knew it.
She got herself out of
And
this
so, yeah, he did show up because he couldn't stop thinking about her. But I don't know that that's what he planned at that moment. I don't know that he thought he was going to really show up back in the States in front of her apartment, which I had a note, though, at the end when I was watching it. And I go, did he even know she lived there? Or he just bought a new boat and came back to the States? And she was walking down the street like, there he is. And he's like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm here for you.
Yeah. These alligator boots.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, those were my likes. What about you, Tessa?
I'm like same, like the adventure sequences and the fact that she, like there was this whole, she was like this silly romance novelist and she showed up
Cat lady.
and she was able to, it's like this cat lady trope, but then she was able to handle her own.
Yeah.
At the very end, she came up, she showed up for her sister. And
she wasn't even a big old whiner about it. Like in the very
No.
beginning, a little bit, because she's like not expecting that this was what was about to
Right.
happen when she got there. So of course
Right.
you're going to be like,
Well,
what?
that
The bus
I know,
wrecked and my
but,
shoes
I
and oh my
know, but, like,
god.
I'm gonna get trugged through with
But
this
she wasn't
boat.
like, they didn't make her be
yeah,
through
no.
the whole thing where he's
Well,
like dragging her like, come on.
That's true. And like, and she did. She got right into it. And then of course, like Danny DeVito, like
You gotta, yeah, come on. Gotta have some Danny DeVito.
especially in the 80s. Like there,
Yeah.
I mean,
I like
anything
almost
he was
anything
in.
he was in. And I love that he made a Batman reference.
Yes.
He said something about let's get out of here before Batman comes back. And I was like, oh, he's the Penguin.
He was being
the
prophetic.
thing,
He was
no,
like, I want to be in a Batman movie later. So that's why he said it.
Yes.
Great.
He manifested.
He
that.
did. He manifested it for himself.
That is so funny. Yeah. I will say Joan's arc is actually quite good. And I like that about her too, that she, never leaves her apartment. She, has a cat and only has one cat. So she's not quite the cat lady, but,
Well,
right.
true.
he was
But
getting
that's like
there.
her
But she
relationship.
went on a date with that cat.
Yeah, she
did.
was.
She took that cat on a date. So
Yeah.
I mean,
That was her boyfriend.
even though she only had one, she was a one cat
Yeah.
woman, I guess.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
like,
there's another Batman ref.
Oh, she was Selena Kyle.
That was
She was
it.
giving you Selena
No,
Kyle
she would have done-
vibes.
Right?
Man, if they would have made it back then, she would have been Selena Kyle.
Oh yeah, I think she could have done it.
oh yeah,
For sure.
she
If
could
it was like super early 80s, heck yeah.
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 Anyway,
I would have bought
It
into
was
that.
like 5-10 years before.
Oh, my only other note for likes I almost forgot was that one scene in the getaway, the El Jefe getaway in the heart to heart music.
yeah.
There was
Sounded
this
like
one
Heart to
part
Heart.
in the Jeep and they're like hauling ass and the music's playing, and I'm like, am I watching an episode of Heart to Heart right now? Like I felt I was getting
Man.
really strong Heart to Heart vibes. So I just wanted to mention that.
Fart to fart.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I watched it. I watched so much.
Well,
that
that's
and
what I called it
Remington
when I was a
Steele,
kid.
Heart to Heart,
Yeah.
and Remington Steele back to back.
Like that whole.
Yeah, I watched those too. So yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that scene over again to hear that music because now it's gonna bug me. So,
Right. Go back and go, oh,
that's it.
Or not. Let us know.
Because it's not through the whole thing. I'm sure it's after the music you were talking about when they're looking at his house and whatever.
Right.
And then when he helps them get away and they're doing that whole Jeep
All right.
chase thing, there's just a
During
part
the chase.
and they're doing like over the hills and bouncing around, and the music is the whole scene, actually, really the whole vibe of it with the two of them and the third guy was a heart to heart moment.
Yeah. It definitely had those vibes. Like, let us know if you don't feel it.
Yeah, tell me if we're totally off base. But I told her and she was like, yep, yep, I got it.
Oh, that's actually quite funny. I'm gonna, like I said, I love that scene, so I'm gonna go visit that with that in mind. So okay, cool. All right.
Okay.
Wonderful. Okay, so the things I want to mention, aside from pretty much everything in the movie that I love, there's some details that they put in that I really enjoyed. So when Joan is attempting to cross the pre-Columbian art bridge, which is just a funny description, Jack goes into this whole thing. I knew I should have listened to my mother. So, and he makes that reference actually twice about listening to his mom. The next time is when they're actually getting ready to see the Bellmaker and all the hombres are behind him. He's like, I knew I should listen to my mother. It's just funny. But what makes it really funny is he starts to complain. He's like, I could have been a cosmetic surgeon, $500,000 a year, up to my neck and tits and ass. And the fact that it's a cosmetic surgeon up to his neck and tits and ass, it's just a funny wordplay. I thought that was funny. So,
yeah.
I don't
but
even
you
know
get to
if I
learn.
I don't think I did either.
Yeah, it's funny. It's just it's nice little wordplay, and also kind of gives you a little bit of insight into his relationship with his mom. Probably she probably had really good advice and just ignored it all the time because that's what we do.
As they do. Of course. I got teenagers and they do exactly that.
Yes.
Go out to the jungles of Colombia and learn his own lessons.
Yep.
Right. That's a hard lesson to learn.
Well,
but,
hey,
if they learn it, it's worth it, right?
I don't know if he did though. I know.
No, he didn't. I really love how Joan seems to have issues with her opening her bottles of booze. Like,
I hated that because I was like, she is our size.
Like,
she can open a bottle of booze. It's tiny.
To look up like how tall is Kathleen Turner, because there's absolutely no reason she should have a problem with opening.
I know. I'm like, she's not a tiny, frail little thing.
She's not like a wisp of a woman. Like, she's not like a.
And I guess maybe, and was there like a moment at the end where she was able to open one? Like, was that the message? Is like up until she had this adventure, she was all
in the bottle.
I caught on that the bottles got bigger because remember she has the little ones. Yeah, well, she has the little ones in her cabinet. She takes the one with her, but then when they end up in the plane crash, they find that really big one of the guy in the pilot's thing, and of course, and then in that big bottle happens to be Elaine's favorite drink, so she takes a drink of that one. So she graduated to adult sized beverages as opposed to the little ones that you get on the airplanes. But actually, what's funny about that is, Jack takes a drink, gives it to her, and not missing a beat, she takes her little her hanky and cleans off the top of it, which is funny because she slid down the side of a mountain. She was shot at. She is coming, she's been rained on all day long, covered in mud, but she's worried about getting germs off a bottle. I just thought that was really funny.
It was just because she
didn't have her cootie shot before she left.
And she was inhaling all the plastic from that weed he was burning. Like, burn the weed, but don't burn the plastic.
Wrap it first. You have a knife.
I'm like, you guys are getting all the wrong kinds of high right now.
That's not good for you.
That's not good for your lungs.
Yeah, like phosphates and things. I don't know. What do they call them things?
I'm like, I'm surprised they weren't getting nauseous and like hallucinating in that.
Like, I'm surprised they didn't die. They were like hotboxing that cabin.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure that
was funny too.
I love that scene. I'm pretty sure she actually passed out because
yes, I think
she just
she had a drink, she had a little smoke, she had a little contact high, and
right?
She was exhausted.
Yeah,
day.
That was a bitch of a day.
Well, yeah, like that's so far out of her norm. Like, I wouldn't even be there. Be like, sorry, sis.
We
got into some mess in Colombia.
Yeah,
sorry about it.
Bye. We're not that close. You've been in Colombia for a while.
To go on an adventure in Colombia with bad guys.
Right?
we were watching it together podcast. We tried to watch them together.
Mhm.
And in the scene in the mudslide when he lands like face first in her crotch. And I was like, oh, that's how he got the throat cancer. It started because his thing about how he got throat cancer and what caused it. And so I was like, that was the beginning. It started right there in the mud because his mouth was all open in the dirty water.
I guess it was the mud.
It was that muddy water.
Yeah.
Yes, it was the muddy water.
Not even cancer.
Yes, he had some sort of bacteria happening.
That's what it was.
I'll never look at that scene the same way again. Thank you for that. So a couple other quick things I want to mention. I find it funny that every time Jack tries to speak Spanish to somebody, they speak English. So it's like he seems surprised every time. Oh, you speak English. Great. It's like, how long have you been in that country? Then, it's just
I know.
It's just funny.
He's been there for like a year and a half or something.
He says that he's been there forever, but then he says he got there like a year ago.
That's
not forever.
Well, I mean, obviously it's been a while because he didn't know the Doobie Brothers broke up, and his reaction to that is hilarious.
Yeah, that's true. He was like, "Oh, the Doobie Brothers broke up." Like it was like what was that? Like a Grateful Dead, like it just to transport the Grateful Dead's weed. Oh,
that sounds about right.
Or like it was like on their rider. Like we have a whole separate jumbo jet that transports
just for that,
just our liquor and our weed.
Yep.
Yeah, I could see that though. I could see that from those guys.
I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
If they need it, it's got to be there. It's got to be there, or it's free, or whatever. I don't know. Anyway,
right? I know. Well, what happened when after that one? Like they walked off the stage. They're like, we cannot perform.
No,
right? It's like we're not going on. We're not going on without our weed. It's somewhere. It's somewhere in South America. So
Yes.
All right. So anything else? Any likes you want to mention before we move on?
I mean, nothing in
that was
particular.
my
list. The one part when they go down there and they thought they recognized Joan Wilder, like out of nowhere.
Oh, I loved that. I love that he was he was a big romance novel fan. Yeah. I know his accent sounded French right there. We had to look it up. We're like, he is really like South American or something, right? We had to look it up. We're like, isn't he Cuban or something?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, and I'm like, why does that accent sound super French?
He was like the French Wizard of Oz, or the like gate guy at the Emerald City. He was like, "Dossier." Like it was weird, but yeah, no, I like that part too, where they recognized her name, like out
that
in
was
the middle
cute.
of nowhere.
Yeah, I like that too because it's just fun. They go in and he has all of her books. So yeah,
yes,
you take. I have many copies. I'm like, what?
That was their in.
Right.
It's like they recognized her.
Right.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's very good. Which actually is a callback because at the beginning, when she was leaving, her agent said, I know South America, your books do very well down there. And which of course pops up later. I thought that was hilarious.
That either, yeah.
No, I didn't even clock that.
That's nice.
Yeah,
that's
see,
funny.
it's like I said, that's what, and I think it's stuff like that in the screenplay that made Michael Douglas want to buy it because those little details, it creates it's world building. So, and for a first time writer, that's super impressive. So,
Okay, Joan Wilder, write us out of this one.
Joan Wilder? Joan Wilder? The Joan Wilder? You are Joan Wilder, the novelist?
Yes, I am.
I read your books. I read all your books. Come in. Esta es Juanita Wilder, la que escribe las novelas que le leo los sábados. Juanita. Le damos la bienvenida, ¿verdad, muchachos?
Juanita, es Juanita.
Come in.
Adiós,
Come in.
amiga.
I can't believe you're here. Joan Wilder. Oh.
Script.
go ahead.
Doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
I have that okay, so the cop guy. So that whole plot around the cop guy. So he
Zolo.
came all the way there, came to her apartment.
Yes.
He either is or isn't really a cop or a military guy. I didn't never really sort out if he is.
Or did not.
But he
kill
has the
security
fake
guard.
shit to say. If he's not really the guy, then he has stuff to show he's the guy.
Right.
Like all he had to do was wait outside for her to come home and go, "Oh, I'm with the authorities in Colombia, and you were sent a map that's part of this murder investigation, and I need to acquire it from you." And instead, he like murdered her landlord, which never comes up again.
And like for what though? Like,
Nobody
Right.
mentions it, and he didn't know anything. He's just like, you can't break into her apartment.
Seriously, like he did not follow like proper protocol at all. He was like, "Hey, That's Joan Wilder's
I know he told him
apartment.
whose apartment it was. It's like, don't do that.
Right.
Like,
So,
he
yeah.
could have just said, what are you doing there?
And
Like,
so,
not-
yeah, he tosses her place. He doesn't find it.
Mhm.
He follows her all the way back to Colombia.
Yeah.
Stop her at the airport here, or at the airport in Colombia. Why make her get on the other bus? Steal. You see it in her bag. Smack her up. Like, you didn't have any problem killing this other dude.
I know.
Knock her
Like,
ass out.
Knocked her
Grab the
unconscious,
map.
take the
Like,
map,
why are you going on this
bingo, bango,
journey?
you're done. Like, I don't know. He made it harder
This
than it had to
undercover
be.
journey just to get there and then have a badge and a uniform and then be like, oh, by
He
the
was
way, I'm the
wrapped up in the
police.
drama. He was wrapped up in the adventure. of
That
it all.
part
He was-
confused me.
Yeah, that's also my like.
There
did
was
not
it didn't need to have so many bad guys because like it had
Right.
Danny DeVito and his cousin,
right.
and then you weren't sure if Michael Douglas was a bad guy because he had the potential to because he did steal the map at
Right.
one point, stuck it in
He
the
was going
mattress, and it was
to.
like, oh
Right.
no, all right, she's down, I'll put it back in her purse. But so that would have been plenty. The Danny DeVito and his brother guy who were just looking for the treasure, and then him would have been plenty enough of
Intrigue.
stuff.
That's
And that
enough intrigue.
that shooting scene, because there were so many bad guys, that machine gun scene went on a touch too long for my
Well, actually, that's one of my
for my
complaints.
brain.
All those bullets flying everywhere and nobody gets shot. Like, I think in the entire,
Not at
movie, only
all.
one person got shot. Only one person gets shot in the entire movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's some bad
Not
aim.
even in the leg, not in the
know,
foot,
Not
nothing.
in the shoulder.
Not just a stray one through
No,
a
like,
bag.
like an earlobe or something.
I did. Oh, and I forgot. Should have been a parts I liked. I thought it was funny when they kicked him in the balls and it was the fucking jewel.
Yes.
It was dumb,
I did
but
like
the way
that
he
part.
dropped it down his leg like a big old turd trying to see it.
But see, my problem with that was, it clinks, which is funny.
It does, yeah.
And then he tries to fake like it hurt. I'm sorry. I don't care if that's there or not. It's still gonna friggin' hurt, man. Because he's like,
got a gem
just got
kicked
a
in.
jewel.
Yes, into your family jewels.
Hunted
Right?
up into your jewels.
Yes. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think that would have hurt. So yeah,
Right.
that
Yes.
was
But I
that
did
was
think
weird.
that was funny.
It
Yeah,
was
it
funny
was-
though. Just the way he shook it out of it. Because why did he shake it out of his leg? Like
he got dislodged when he got hit, apparently.
I guess I want to know what kind of undergarments he had on. They kicked him in the front and then just shit out.
Well, I mean, he lost his faculties and then his jewel fell out.
He lost his family jewel.
I mean, I don't know.
Took it right off of
He's a
him.
rogue. He's out there doing all kinds of wild stuff. Who knows?
And my only other dislike that I had a note about was when Danny DeVito cornered them. Sorry, why didn't you just grab him by the ear
Little, like
and smack him on the bottom
like
and
hold
kick
his
him out of your way? Oh,
Like I
Well-
know he has a gun. But
Well,
like,
he
two
should've-
are together. Yeah, there's two of you.
He should have drowned trying to get to that cave because when Jack and Joan are walking in there, you could barely see them. So I'm like thinking, how did he make it?
His feet don't touch the bottom.
No, there's no
He
way.
doggy paddled the whole way.
and even though I do always love Danny DeVito, I feel like he could have done. They could have done more with that character. I think they could have made him funnier. There was some physical comedy stuff that was funny. Him running from them. Which that part I didn't get either. Why are you running
Right,
on
why are
foot?
you
There's two
running?
sets
Like,
of people with cars.
Everybody's
after
gonna mow
you.
you down in cold blood. Like it's not even gonna be a
He
thing.
didn't even head for the trees, like where he was
No.
going to go where cars can't go. He just open field. I'm
Not
going to run
even
from these
zigzag
cars. No,
movement, no squirrel tactic, no nothing.
nothing.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I know. It's like, and also what I thought was strange in that same area is when they're driving the car up there looking for the jewel. Why is there already a tire track there? Why is there already, and it ends right where they stop?
Somebody else been up there.
It's like, I'm like, couldn't you have at least covered that up to
movie
make it look
magic.
like they were the first ones there? It looked way too weird. So
Yeah.
now,
Hmm.
to your point with Ira and Ralph, they to me struck me as a little bit too incompetent to actually be good villains, and
That too. What was their thing?
Right.
How did they know about this map? What involvement? You know what I mean? They never explained
Yeah.
that part.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like he kept, Ralph kept saying we've stolen all this stuff, we have enough stuff, and I'm thinking, but how did they do that? It doesn't seem like they are really good at their job, So, I think you needed Zolo in a way because he presented danger. I don't think I actually believed Ralph and Ira
So
to
then
be
just Zolo
killers.
then.
Yeah,
Right.
Then
maybe.
get rid of the other two and just
Yeah.
Zolo.
Yeah,
Because that was just there was no, and it didn't necessarily make it feel messy. Like it wasn't distracting
No.
in the movie where I was like, oh,
Like,
there's too
I
much
hated
going
it
on.
so much that now I hate this
But
movie. It
looking
wasn't
back,
like that.
answering these questions you sent, I'm going, Well, actually, though, what was that guy's deal? And
Like, what?
why didn't he, if he was really the police, just use his power as police to be like, "Hi, I'm here on a murder investigation from Colombia."
Accomplish what he was trying to accomplish.
Right.
Right.
And was he really a cop?
No.
Yeah, like I was like, oh, maybe
he's not,
dirty,
right?
right?
I
Like,
think
he was
he's
a dirty cop.
Yeah, I think he described him as calls himself General Zolo, or whatever. I think he's just one of those. He's just one of those crooked guys that has money in his own private army. I don't think he has any real clout as far as especially not overseas, So I think maybe
I feel like he deserved some sort of award for that hand biting off scene, though. He really brought you the pain of having your hand bit off. He was spitting and frothing at the mouth, crying and sweating. I was like, oh wow,
Captain Hook.
He sure was.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, actually, after that, like he lights up that his cigar and everything, and he's just like you could the whole time he's going up there, you're like he's definitely hurting, and then he manages to stop, catch the knife in his stick too, and I'm like, okay, you know what, he's
right. I'm like, he's still all aware, even though he's losing blood rapidly.
Yeah,
I mean,
man, I would have passed out the second that dude bit me. It would have been over already.
Yeah,
I'd have fallen in the water.
I guess he's.
And the way he dies, I don't know how they managed to keep that from being like fully comical, because that was like a Three Stooges.
What?
He got the cigar put out in his face. He got lit on fire.
Yeah.
He got yes, like
his eye,
right?
Not
In the eye.
his eye.
And then he like on fire falls into the crock pit, and then it's like the screaming stops immediately. No. That there screaming should have ensued from that point on for at least a few minutes.
Was he knocked unconscious?
Well, and then it kind of looked like the fire was still going. There was some flickering, but there was water down there.
Also that.
Like it didn't need to go out when he landed in the water.
Maybe his clothes weren't flame retardant. I don't know.
No, there definitely should have been more screaming for sure, because
I mean, he should have died longer.
Yeah.
He got his though.
Yes, that would have been. Although I'm sure the MPAA would have made them, cut that out because it's too violent. Because that's no fun.
Even though his bloody stump just spraying blood was fine.
So what was it? It's a 80s PG-13.
Was it PG?
No, it was PG. No, it's just PG.
Yeah, because because they didn't even have any F-bombs, did they?
I don't think so.
No, they did not.
Or did they have one? No, nothing like
No.
that. Yeah. So,
but what surprises me is how much of Douglas and Turner you see in that, in the hotel. There's a lot of skin for a PG movie. I was like,
yes,
there was. There's like full.
But I love that like their bodies were so obviously untouched and natural and like real human bodies. Well, like you don't see that as often these days. Like she had bruises. She had bruises from being out in the jungle and stuff. And she was like, "This is what people look like after they've been in the jungle for several days."
Oh yeah, I'd have been black and blue after going down the side of the hill. There's just no way.
I'm surprised nobody broke nothing.
Yeah, well, apparently,
were there injuries?
Apparently, Kathleen Turner said she had multiple stitches throughout the movie. In fact, that fight with Zolo at the end, she got 3 stitches when she hit her head on the ground. She got stitches off the airplane because it was jagged edges, so she scraped her arm on the plane. So yeah, she got multiple stitches throughout the production of the movie.
Oh, I believe it. Probably had to get a tetanus shot.
She's tough.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
See, she couldn't open a little liquor bottle.
But she couldn't open her tiny
liquor bottle. I don't buy that. That's like the one thing. I don't believe this movie happened just because.
That's it. That's the only unrealistic part. She couldn't open those tiny liquor bottles.
Completely buy, but the liquor bottle thing, no. That's too
now, had it been a pickle jar, there's ways.
Yeah, there's ways. That's true.
Yeah, smack it on the counter.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. Every once in a while, I can't get a lid off, and I'm like trying, and my wife will laugh at me, and I'll go, "Okay, well, you try." Then, of course, she can get it open, and so I feel like an idiot, but that's okay.
Of course.
It's like, she goes, "You loosened it for me." I'm like, "Oh, shut up." Anyway.
Oh wow.
So
that's nice of her.
Yeah, yes. She's very gracious that way. My only other complaint is at times the music, even though it's a great composer, it still feels very 80s at times, which, it is what it is. But yeah, there's that musical sting you get with Zolo every once in a while, and that's so very mid 80s. So I kind of wish. I kind of wish, but that's a minor complaint.
Entrance music,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
See that river? What, the one without the bridge?
This river is the main water supply for many villages.
What do you mean the one without the bridge?
It feeds right into the Amazon.
The one without the bridge.
Let's go ahead and move on to favorite scene. Nicole, why don't you go first?
Either the mudslide or that Jeep getaway, that heart to heart scene getaway was amazing. The mudslide part was amazing. Favorite in a funny way, that sailboat at the end.
I know
the fact that he shows up with the sailboat
on the back of a truck, like that's
in
ridiculous.
they're in what, New York or something, and he
yes.
this trailer park. Like, how long did it take him to move to get all those people to move?
Like, wide load, yeah.
Like, I need 10 car spaces for this, so y'all are gonna need to move.
Like,
well, apparently they had a driver because the pulls away with him on the back of it, so they had a driver.
And how far do they have to take that? Like,
well, and she's coming home with groceries. She apparently leaves the bag on the ground for whatever reason, removes the flowers she bought for herself, and tries to carry those up the rope ladder, and then it's crushing them between them as they. Why did you
even bother?
Why did you grab the flowers?
Your baguette.
What was that for? And then they just go, and I'm like, she has a cat.
I know.
She's just going. Like, you got a cat in your apartment.
Holland Taylor still have her cat,
right?
Right. She's gonna take care of the cat.
I don't know.
That's all right. She'll call her. She'll call her from the dock or whatever. Say, go take care of the cat.
Oh, maybe he's got the old school Zach Morris.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
He does. He does.
He's got the money now.
Right.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, like the mudslide scene, of course, and the part where he gets kicked in the junk, shuffles the jewel turd out of his pants, and then the alligator boots at the end.
Yeah,
I like that.
Oh, nice.
Wrestling the alligator was pretty funny when he's like pulling this.
And I thought it was good that he wasn't
like,
just easily able to drag a freaking 800-pound truck over the edge.
What he was doing, just anyway.
I thought it was hilarious. He tried to scale that wall to save her. On what? That was like an almost completely flat wall.
Like, climb up this. Oh, he is.
He sure did try.
Yes.
So, actually, the heart to heart chase, which is how I'm going to refer to it from now on, is actually my favorite scene in the movie. Not just because it's really cool, because it is. It's really exciting and well done. But I love that the bellmaker starts calling out landmarks. That's where my mother was born, and stuff like that. And he turns around because he doesn't want to hurt his favorite pig. I'm just like, really?
What are we stopping for?
I can't hurt my favorite pig. See over there by the fence? That's where my mother was born. And see that tree, the third tree up the ridge? My brother planted that tree.
I know.
He's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
He's not a bad guy.
He's not a bad drug dealer. He's just, but I love the line when Michael Douglas says, "This guy's crazier than I am." I just think it's, and you could look at Jack's face. He's enjoying the whole thing. He's bouncing up, down. He's just smiling the entire time. So I would be too, but it's funny. Okay. So do you have a favorite character?
Probably Kathleen Turner.
I mean, yeah,
she has the best arc. I feel like,
arc, and I like her whole story. I like Ralph.
Yeah.
Just because, I like Danny DeVito. So there you go. But yeah, no, I think Joan Wilder.
Yeah.
Because from where she starts and where she ends, I think she has the best story.
Yeah.
All right.
She writes it herself.
Agreed. She does.
Right.
She gets to live her fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so my favorite character is Jack Colton, and I'm going to explain why, because it's a little too obvious, and I get that. But here's the thing: I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. I own it. I love it. I mean, behind me there's Star Wars stuff on my wall. So I get a Han Solo vibe from Jack Colton. Let me explain. He's a scoundrel. He's always running from somebody. He's always ready to shoot first, and he's into shortcuts.
I feel it.
Yeah, he's trying to get enough money. He's trying to get enough money so he can be captain of his own ship. And he wears a vest through half the movie. Man, you give him a dog sidekick, and I swear it completes the look. He's freaking Han Solo.
Yeah.
He's an earthbound Han Solo.
That.
Yeah.
I do not disagree.
I can co-sign on that. That's a good observation, because for sure, he's definitely roguish.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. You don't trust him at first, but by the end of the movie, you're like, oh, he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
But still, I don't know. Maybe somewhere down the line.
Right? If he finds a younger, prettier More
I mean, just
adventurous.
because I've seen his other movies, so I know he can be.
Right, that he's good at being a bad guy
He's
too.
also pretty sleazy sometimes.
Right. All right. I got you. Okay, so you guys mentioned earlier Jewel of the Nile, so I'm guessing you have seen the sequel. What do you feel about the sequel? Like it? Don't like it? Where does it rank against this one?
I haven't watched it in so long. The only thing I could tell you about Jewel of the Nile is that Billy Ocean video
Yes, the
No,
music
oh yeah,
video.
right.
with them all dressed in
Oh
white.
man, I'd forgotten all about that.
Yeah, I thought it was this one. Then I was like, no, but I remember it was from the movie. And she's like, yeah, for the next one. I was like,
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
oh, okay.
So, I mean, of course, we saw the sequel because my
Because
folks liked
again,
the
right?
movie,
Yeah.
and
So
like,
it was
of course, we
on.
watched the sequel, and I almost wonder if I saw the sequel more than I saw.
I might
this
have if I watched it again, and I wish I would have had
I
time to watch
know.
it before this. We're so bad about doing things last minute.
I know.
If I had thought about it, I would have tried to watch it just for this question
Right,
because I
just
don't.
to,
Because I
like-
wonder if I might remember that one more.
Well, because we did this a lot when we watched Romancing the Stone. Was like as it went on, it was like, oh, I remember this
Yeah.
part.
So
Like,
at first
oh,
we
Oh,
were
okay.
like, what? And I'm like, oh, okay, okay, yeah, I remember all
just
this
because
now.
it
Yeah.
had been so long, but it's in there because I had seen it
It's
so
an
many
old
times.
memory. Yeah.
You have to like pop through the Rolodex a little bit, like go through the file cabinet and find that file of
But
where the memories
weirdly,
are.
just happened to be this week, I was listening to another podcast that's about movies, and Adam Scott was a guest, and they asked him about the movie that disappointed him the most, and he said Jewel of the Nile. He said he was a huge Romancing the Stone fan. He went and saw it in the theater. He watched it over and over and over again, and that when Jewel of the Nile came out, he got up and walked out of the theater halfway through the movie.
imagine
They were
Wow.
like, really? And that's what the host was like, not that bad. And he's like, well,
Yeah.
this was like me at 13, and I don't know, it just didn't
And
hold
he
up
just never
to
went back and
because I
watched
want
it
to say,
again.
was it funnier? Was it more campy or something? Or
Like it was more of a joke.
or like not
Yeah,
as much adventure?
I think
don't
they
know.
tried just to make it more of everything. I think there was more. It was more. They focused a lot more on the humor, and I can tell you that for my taste, I haven't seen it since probably the early '90s. Was the last time I watched it because I think it was because I remember watching, going, okay, and then I'm like, I'll
So
watch
it is.
it.
So it's not as good.
No,
Okay. So yeah, that might be
this one
true.
has so much more charm and it's so much more fun than the other one. I think they were just trying to make the sequel bigger, which is what so many
Right.
sequels
Yeah,
fail
and
because
it
they tried to
felt
make it bigger.
forced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Okay. All right. I can see that too. I can see how that would be a problem.
Mhm.
So it's definitely not one of those sequels that surpasses the original.
No, it doesn't sound like
No.
it.
No.
No. Because
Oh,
you're
well.
right. I mean, like this one, it's so cute, it's so charming, it's so fun. Like,
Yeah.
it's a good time. It's
It
a
is
good
a
way
good
to
time.
spend an hour and a half or whatever, 2 hours.
Right. Very true. Very true. Okay. So let's move on to some of our questions. Have you ever read a trashy romance novel?
Unless you count Anne Rice.
I was just gonna say, unless you right? No.
Which is kind of some of, if we're not talking like the Vampire Diaries, I don't know if you ever read Belinda. But
No.
that was a novel about a much older adult man and like I can't remember if she was 14 or 16-year-old
that
girl
sounds awful.
and their romance. And
Oh, no.
I read it when I was like the age of the girl.
Oh,
Yeah. Or like her Sleeping Beauty series.
Yeah.
That was all like kink based
Wow.
or whatever. And I was like, ooh, Miss Rice. But other than that, no.
read like those Harlequin.
No,
romance
yeah,
novels,
I was
like,
not a
like
romance
that.
novel
Like,
girl.
the trashiest I got was like VC Andrews.
Right. VC Andrews, like Christopher Pike. Like we were
Yeah,
those
like those things, but they
Okay.
were more,
scary.
like,
We like scary, supernatural.
right.
So if there was an element of that and there was also some trashy romance happening in like a
I
teen
mean, there
novel,
was, like,
sure.
always like Judy Blume's Always
Right.
was,
But I wasn't seeking out the
No.
romance. No.
Gotcha.
not like Bodice Rippers, not with like
Yeah,
Fabio
no,
on the cover.
no. I never read a
Not
book with
Sex
Fabio.
Pirates or like
No.
farm hands or stuff like that.
The
Like,
big
no.
blousy shirt on the
No.
cover.
I mean, I liked the covers just because like how dramatic. But,
Right.
like I never did read.
Yeah.
I never
Okay.
did read those. It wasn't really my thing.
No, the closest I ever came, I read like 5 of Sidney Sheldon's books during the 80s. I picked up one off the shelf in my
Like I
house.
have to have.
Well, I read one of
Like
his and I just
something
kept
like
reading them.
that.
You know, Master of the Game, what was it? If Tomorrow Comes, which actually ended up being a TV movie. It was just a couple of steps above your typical trashy romance novel. So, it's not as bad, but it definitely had some of the same tones for sure.
What was the Diane Steele?
Danielle Steele.
Danielle Steele, yeah, those are
I
definitely.
think I might have read a couple of those.
I never
like
read
that.
him, but I remember seeing the commercials.
Yes, when they
Right.
would sell you
You
like
would
the
see
Danielle
Danielle Steele commercials and
Yes.
Dianetics.
Yes,
L.
I
Ron
remember
Hubbard.
those late night.
I remember being so confused when I heard about Scientology because I was like, wait a minute.
But
The guy that with the Dianetics ones.
Yep.
Is it about volcanoes? Is that what your religion is? You guys love volcanoes? I don't get it.
I mean, volcanoes cool.
That makes more sense than what it actually is, but whatever.
Right? True.
All right. Do you have a favorite precious stone?
We both said opal.
Yeah.
We're both
Opal?
October
Alright.
babies. So
Mhm.
opals.
Oh, okay.
Bulls, I would
I
say,
love
yeah.
that they're rainbowy and that you can, there's so many different kinds you can get now. Like they're from different places. Like
It's my birthstone.
yeah,
so-
same.
Right.
So we love an opal.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not as precious, but I'm a big fan of turquoise. I like that.
Oh, I do
Turquoise
like
is
a
nice, yeah.
turquoise.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to.
I'll rock a turquoise.
Yeah. All right. If you actually had a pet alligator or a crocodile, what would you name it?
Elvis.
Yes.
Because
Really?
the only reason
The only two,
because Clarissa
explains it all.
Clarissa
Oh,
explains
right.
it all
Oh,
had a
oh
little
my God.
alligator
She had an alligator, and I always wanted one because
Yep.
Clarissa had one.
Right.
in a little
That
kiddie pool in
in
her
a kiddie
room
pool with the sand, and I would name it Elvis.
because that was his name.
That was his name.
Yeah.
All
I would
right.
do that or Clarissa.
I would pet a tiny crocodile.
Yeah,
Like the
I mean,
baby ones. I don't think I would
actually want to.
No, those things
No.
are expensive.
Mm.
But those
I
little
mean,
ones
they
are kind of
grow up.
cute. Those little lizardy ones.
Ones
When they're
are kinda
babies.
cute. Like I don't want to do that. I mean, unless I have like a
Snappers.
pit
Look at them snappers.
Those snappers,
of alligators,
right?
like to dispose of my enemies, then sure.
I mean, that's
I would
awesome.
name them all. That'd be
Right.
great.
You just
Throw 'em little
you build a
house
nice
scraps.
moat around the front of the house, and you fill it full of alligator and
Yeah.
crocodiles. There you go.
Sure, I would do that.
I don't think they really want to be petted.
No,
I,
they just want to be
I don't
fed.
think they do, Nicole.
Right. I think as long as you're
They
throwing them some raw meat,
doesn't wanna
they're
be
good to
fed, he
go.
wants to hunt.
Yeah. You gotta make it wriggle.
We gotta make it wriggle.
The meat. Gotta give them wriggling meat.
Oh man.
Wriggling meat.
Okay. So I would go with Brutus and Nero after the Crocs and the Rescuers.
yes.
Those are yes.
That's
That's
amazing. We love the rescuers.
Yeah.
We have the
I-
ornaments. Our research
Yes.
assistant bought us those classic
Right.
furry ornaments for Christmas 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we both
we
have
have-
those.
We have Bernard and Bianca ornaments as well. So we have the fuzzy ones.
Yeah, those are the ones.
Yep.
Yes,
Those are the ones
exactly.
we have.
So cute.
Yeah. Okay. So in the movie,
good
Jack
idea.
eats flame grilled snake while in the crashed airplane. What is the most exotic food you've ever eaten?
You know what? My mom says snake is good. I've never had it.
Yeah, I couldn't do
Exotic
that.
food.
I've had moose. I didn't like it,
Oh, no.
but it was a sausage. It's very fatty.
I
Yeah.
had like when I got the mythical meats package.
Oh
I
yeah.
got my husband a mythical meats package of beef jerky, but it was made of all different animals. But then they called it like this is
Right.
the Bigfoot one, and this
Mhm.
is the zombie one. But it was made of like it's ostrich and it's
Right.
buffalo, and it's,
Okay.
I think one of them might have been alligator or crocodile. I feel like one of them might have been. I've never had
Good.
snake,
Like you
No.
know,
and I mean, other than
My mom
sushi,
says
I'll
snake
eat like
is
any
good.
kind of sushi,
I will
Okay.
eat that.
and some of that stuff's weird to
But yeah,
people.
no, like I've had like elk and venison and moose.
I haven't had a lot of gamey stuff. It hasn't come up.
rabbit. I've had a
Mm.
quail. It was hilarious. It looked like it got splatted on the windshield. It had like it had its little bone feet.
Yeah.
It was like a
Right.
full quail. It was
Oh.
hilarious. The only reason I ordered it was because I wanted to see what it looked like. So I
And then
was
you
like,
got
I'll
it, and
have
now
the
you have
quail.
to disassemble a quail.
Yes, like you pull off its tiny little drumstick.
Oh man.
It was like, I mean, it was fine. It tastes like chicken.
Depending
Yeah,
on
right,
the
okay.
presentation, you could probably convince me to try a lot of different things. Like if you served it
I'll
with,
try it.
you know what I mean? It's like small bites, and you were
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I'll
well,
try it.
this is something weird, but just try it. It's got a delicious sauce. Like, all right.
All right. Sure.
Okay.
Right.
Octopus. I like octopus. Like that's.
I had never eaten an oyster until this past
Oh
Christmas.
no, I don't like that. What? No.
And my husband, we went to his Christmas work party, and
I
it
don't
was
like
like
that.
where they were it had all the stuff.
Right.
And he's like, look, if I dress it for you, if I put all of the fixins like how it's delicious, will you eat it? And I was like, all right. And I ate one, and he's like, "How was it?" And I said, "It was all right, but I don't ever need to eat." It wasn't good enough for me. And I love seafood, but
I do love seafood.
yeah, no, I'm not.
I like clams.
I don't like the
Yeah.
rubbery.
I don't.
Well, and it
nope,
wasn't
no,
that rubbery. It was actually
you
less
just, like,
rubbery than a clam.
You're like it's like a booger. It's like swallowing a loogie. It's gross.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as swallowing a loogie, but because it was also like chilled. It wasn't a warm.
Though. Well, no, I mean like like a chilled loogie, like a chilled boogie.
Do you often chill your loogies?
You're still in Drop Dead Fred mode, talking about bogies.
Right. So the most exotic thing I've ever had is frog legs, and that was.
I've never had that. Does it taste like chicken?
Yeah.
You know, the whole time I was eating it, I kept thinking Kermit the Frog, so I'll never do it again.
Oh no!
Did it
I
look
can't.
like? No,
Yeah,
okay.
I just can't. It was. I did it. I said I did it. Yeah, I'm good. That's enough. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Oh, snails.
Oh,
yeah,
you had
escargot.
escargot.
Actually, it was good.
She
Really?
liked it. I was like, ooh. See, and I
That's
just
gonna-
think of Pretty Woman.
Right?
Escargot just makes me think Pretty Woman. That's the
Yeah.
only thing I can. That's my instant
How could I
memory.
forget? Because I had pheasant and snails on the same night.
Oh,
Like
Yeah.
I ordered the pheasant because it's funny. I order things based on how hilarious it is.
I want to see what this looks like.
Right? Oh, that's
But
great.
yeah, the
Okay.
snails weren't bad. Escargot ain't bad.
Mm.
It was pretty
See,
good.
that's a whole mind thing. If I know what it is, there's no way it's going down. There's just it's not
Yeah.
happening. Not happening.
Well,
Yeah.
because they serve it in the shells too, so,
So
it's
you
like pretty
can't
obvious
avoid it.
that's
You're
kinda
like,
what
oh,
it
I
is.
gotta pull it out of its shell.
Ew.
That you gotta like bloop.
Ugh.
I will always remember the tools though because of Pretty Woman.
Right.
She showed you learned how to eat escargot along with Julia Roberts. And so, but it's from the time I was like 10. I started watching that movie when I was like 10. My mom bought it on VHS.
I'm not.
She's not, we don't have it on our list because she never liked Pretty Woman, but I
Okay.
watched Pretty Woman so many times. I quoted lines from that all, but like I said, I was watching it when I shouldn't have even known what like sex work was.
Thought about that a lot. Like, there's a lot of things from our generation that like references sex work. For instance, Pretty Woman. She works hard for the money. Roxanne.
Yeah.
All of these
Yeah,
things
there's
are
a lot of
bad
them.
girls.
Mhm.
Hot stuff.
Mhm.
All of these things are referencing those things that we should not have known about, but we did. And
Yeah, we
sing
sure
along.
did. We were singing the songs. Yep.
Let's be honest. If it wasn't for movies and music and TV shows, there's a lot of things we wouldn't have learned about. You know, I mean, come on. I tell people all the time, I learned more from the movies I watched and the books I read and TV shows and music than I ever did in school. That's just a fact. You know, a movie would reference
That's
something. I'm
for
like,
sure.
oh, I'm gonna go look that up and find out what they're talking about because you know I'm a nerd like that.
Yep.
That's okay.
Like I said, I watched way too many times when I was way too young, and it was one of my favorite movies. But I have not watched that in probably 25 to 30 years. And if I watched
Really?
it now, I might just go,
You know what?
ooh, I don't know about this
Instead
movie.
of Pretty Woman, the Julia Roberts movie I watched was Sleeping with the Enemy.
And I only saw Sleeping with the Enemy
It's
once. I
so
think
good.
I
It's a pretty
definitely
good
saw
one.
it.
It's a
We
pretty
should
good one.
trade. I'll make
We'll
you
trade.
watch that
Yeah,
one and
that'll
make
be
you
our
watch
Julia
Pretty
Roberts
Woman.
thing. We'll make each other watch the ones we
There you
missed.
Right. Right. All right. Cool. So a couple more questions. So at the end of the movie, Joan and Jack sail off around the world. Couple questions. Have you ever sailed before? And if you have a chance to sail anywhere, where would you go?
I've been on boats, but I'm trying to remember if I've been on a sailboat. I don't know if I have.
The last time I was on a boat, it was a burial at sea.
Oh,
Or like an ashes thing at sea, and I got so sick, and I went down like to the bathroom to throw up, and they're like, "No, you need to like come up from," because it was like really choppy, like it was
and they're like,
a
you need to
really
go
bad day.
higher.
They're like, "You need to go up there," and I was like, "No, I can't," because they were releasing the ashes, and they were like, "Yeah, go puke all over."
Where they're
Like,
releasing
they're
these
like, "Go up there
ashes.
where they're-" I'm like, "No, I can't do
I
that."
have to get in the bathroom.
So that was the last time I was on, and it was awful. Like I got so seasick.
I don't
So
really get seasick if I could sail anywhere. See, I'm not, but I don't love
see, no,
boats.
I really don't. Like I don't
Okay.
mind like tooting around the harbor.
Right. Somewhere like
Or,
when
you
you
know,
go to
like,
Catalina or
Yeah,
something.
like
Right.
something like that is fine. But I like out in the open ocean, absolutely not. And a little
Yeah.
sailboat, no.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
it's where you're like spending the night and it's a days and days trip, I think I'm gonna
Nope.
pass on that.
Yeah. No,
Thank you.
I agree because when my wife and we were recently in Myrtle Beach, and I love the beach, but when the sun goes down, I look out that ocean, how black it is. I'm like, no.
That is
So
scary as hell.
yes, absolutely. So yeah, on a big ass cruise ship, cool. On a sailboat, no. So my answer would be I would just sail down the California coast and stay nice and close to the coast. So
Right,
if
where you
something
can
happens, I
dock
can
every
swim.
night.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
That would be fun. And if I could see some light.
Sun's
Yeah,
going
I'm good.
down. Let's go sunset in the harbor. Let's go
Right.
tie up to land. And
Yep.
yeah,
And go
I
stay
could see
in a
that.
hotel and then get back in the boat the next day. Yep. Yep.
Mhm. Yeah,
That's completely.
I would be down for that. That's
Good
about as
plan.
far as I'm gonna get into the ocean.
Right. All right. So the final and most important question. If you were stranded in the jungle of Colombia, which 80s action star is helping you find a phone?
Well, that's a good one.
Probably Arnold.
Or like Jack Burton.
Oh, you know what?
Give me some Big Trouble Little China, Kurt Russell, Jack Burton.
Or like the
Horse Han Solo. I mean, Brady.
Indiana Jones.
Fucking Indiana
Yeah.
Jones. Oh yeah, that's a good
'Cause then I
question.
also think of like, you know,
Jungle.
like Arnold Predator, like
That there you go. He's got the jungle experience.
and he's smart because that's how you defeat the predator. You got to be smart, not like brawny.
Well, but can I get an Arnold Schwarzenegger Sigourney Weaver combo? Because I need this.
Ooh,
I
like
need the
Ripley?
mental fortitude of Ripley to
Or
go along with the
Vasquez, if I
muscle.
can
Yes,
get,
or
like,
a Vasquez.
Vasquez.
I'll take Vasquez. That
Mhm.
works too.
Sarah
Right.
Connor.
There you go, Sarah
See?
Connor. That's a good one. So yeah, give me a combo. Like, give me some brawn and some brains.
Right.
And I mean, the ladies, those all ladies all were freaking ripped too. So
Right.
Right,
Like that's
yeah.
they're strong enough because I don't. I
not
don't
a
have
ton.
enough.
They did needed like super strength.
That's true.
just needed
That's
you to
true.
be
help me find a phone. Well, preferably
wily.
also somebody that speaks Spanish.
Yes, Vasquez.
So Vasquez would be my.
Well, apparently
Or
everybody you came
Gallant.
across, spoke
Right.
English. So, but
Well, that's also
Right?
true,
Maybe
but,
we didn't
like,
need
you
to know Spanish.
I don't want to deal with those people because those people were part of the problem. So I'm
No, that's
thinking,
true.
like,
That's true.
talk to some townsfolk.
All right. Yeah, I like the Ripley answer. That's gonna be my choice.
hmm
I mean, because Sigourney Weaver is always the right answer. So
Well,
Sigourney Weaver tops.
right, that's right.
I can't remember. Why did we even originally? It was from
Oh,
the Alien
because
episode. No, the
it was from the
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters episode.
Yeah.
Oh, because we were talking
Her
about
and Rick Moranis.
when they were in dog form, them
Yeah,
being in
like,
dog
she
form.
tops, and it
She
was
was
like-
like, she's the top, right? And I was like, yeah. I'm like,
In
even
dog
not
form.
in dog form.
And I was like, no,
Yeah.
like in all the things.
I'm like, no, yeah, she's just tops for sure.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed. 100%. 100%. Okay. So any final thoughts before we give the movie a rating? Anything you'd like to say?
I'll just have it solid 80s action movie
I
is
mean,
what I
yeah,
wrote. Is
like,
like
it's-
it's
I
got the
was
stuff. It's got the
happy.
action, the adventure, the comedy,
Yeah.
the romance.
I was happy to have an excuse to watch it.
Yeah, because I hadn't
And
watched
been
it
a
in
long
so
time.
long.
Yeah.
Well, good. Good. All right. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and give it a rating real quick. Your options are never again, stream it, buy it used, buy it new, or 4K Blu-ray. What rating are you giving it?
I mean, I would say, I don't know. I like to have things. So,
Yeah.
like, buy it maybe used if you can get like a little box set thingy or something like that. You can find one of those. I would say.
I mean,
do
I for
that.
sure stream it. See,
Oh,
I'm
for
bad
sure
about
stream
buying
it.
physical media. I have like a whole cabinet full of DVDs
know.
and Blu-rays, but I bought those when Best Buy still sold copious amounts of DVDs and
Right.
Blu-rays. Now you go in and it's 3 shelves, and so I
Yeah,
haven't
that's
like.
true. I have a lot of DVDs, but that's what I'm saying is like I like to have
Yeah.
things because I also like to watch if they have special features and stuff like that.
It'd
So
be
I would
kind of
buy
neat to own like every movie you've ever seen.
that would be
You know what I
cool.
mean?
That
Just
would
like
be
I'm
cool.
have a
trying.
physical copy.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're between
yeah.
my wife and I, our video collection is over 800 DVDs and Blu-rays.
Nice.
Because
Nice.
because we're hoarders. 'Cause, but at least it's fun stuff to hoard,
Right. It's fun
And they
stuff.
don't rot. I mean, you're
Yeah.
not
No.
getting bad smells because of your DVD
Right.
collection.
Right. Yeah. Like
Right.
it's not
Not hazardous. Yeah.
Right.
The hoarders team is not on their
And
way in
unless it
hazmat
catches
Right.
on fire, of course, I hope not. But it shouldn't
Right.
be toxic unless that.
Just
but,
don't sit in there like they did in that plane, huffing all
I
that plastic.
know,
If it
Right
does.
now.
wrap the plastic first. before.
Yes. Safety
yeah,
tips.
Definitely 100% stream it. If you can find it in a little box set with both of them, I would say buy it.
All right. Yeah, I say buy it new because yes, my copy has great documentaries and actually has deleted scenes as well as the three actors talk about their favorite scenes. So it's quite
nice.
So, yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I like those.
And
things.
I think when I was younger, I was bad about ever watching the bonus features. Like if it wasn't like I would watch deleted scenes or bloopers, but commentary and things like that and interviews I didn't so much watch. And so now that I'm older, I feel like that when I get copies of that does have that stuff, and now that we have a podcast, I'm like, okay. Like now this stuff is a little more interesting to me.
I mean, I used to do that because I worked nights and I would buy all of these DVDs. And when I would get home in the morning, I would have trouble falling asleep. So I would put on like the commentary or the special features or whatever and just kind of absorb it in my sleep. So now I know everything.
Sleep
learning. Yeah. I love a good commentary. So, well, like, and it really depends on the director or whoever's doing the commentary. I love Big Trouble in Little China, and Kurt Russell and John Carpenter do a commentary for that one, but they spend most of the movie talking about each other and talking about their family and stuff like that. They barely talk about the movie. I'm like,
and we did that movie when I think we tried to watch it, or one of our research assistants or something tried to watch with the commentary, and they're like, it's not helpful.
No,
it's not going to give you anything that you need to know.
No.
Yeah, like it's entertaining, but it's not helpful.
Yeah,
put them on to have like an episode of a podcast, like
that was the Kurt Russell.
They set it up to like watch your movie and just talk about it, and then they just go off on whatever it is they're
talking about their little personal stories.
Sometimes you get some great stories out of there, like like little behind the scenes things, or just little things from their lives. It's interesting. So
yeah, Ridley Scott does really good commentaries. His one for Alien, he tells you all the little secrets, everything they did that to make it work, and I love that stuff. Little details on how they make movies. So
I have watched that one. Yeah,
it's a good one. How the landing scene where they put children in spacesuits, so they only had to build a half. Yeah, I love that. Because it's like, they're kids. I'm like, they're kids? Really? That's cool.
Yeah, they're little kids, so that they didn't have to build it so big.
Yeah, I love that stuff. That's too fun. Too fun. So, okay, well, that's it. Thank you, Nicole and Tessa, so very much. It's been a pleasure having you guys on.
Thank you. We had a blast.
It's fun.
Where can people find your podcast?
We are on pretty much everywhere. I mean, we're on all the big ones, Spotify, Apple, but we're also on like Audible and Amazon and Podcast Addict and Good Pods and all of the places you can find them. We're on YouTube, all of those places. And then, but mostly we direct people to our Instagram, which is Doom Generation Pod, because we have our link tree in the bio there.
Right.
And that has the links to all the places, the merch, the Patreon, the, whatever we've got.
Right. And it's our photo edits and all that other stuff.
Oh yeah. And our photo edits, which we always try to, that we get it. We get listeners just because of those photos sometimes.
I gotta say, I'm impressed because I'm like, how do they find time to keep doing this? Because I have a hard enough time just making a single post every day. So,
well, if you were somebody who knows how to use Photoshop and you looked very closely at those photo edits, it would be very obvious that not only am I not using Photoshop, right? I am not spending any significant amount of time. Like she'll send me a photo sometimes, and within like a minute to 2 minutes, I'm sending her back the edited version. So like I'm literally just like,
I'm like, you should put us in here, and she's like,
okay. I'm like, cut out the people, put us in the back, stick the people back on top of us. I'm done. Like I'm barely color matching. I'm barely like making it so like we stand out for sure.
Yeah.
Photos.
Can see it.
They are not great photo edits if you really took the time to zoom in, but they work, man. People like them.
Yeah, they're fun for sure. Definitely fun. So I want to take a minute to thank the listeners out there and the fans. It means a lot that you take time out of your day to visit with us. So thank you very much. Reach out on social media. Let us know what you think of Romancing the Stone. We are on Twitter at DockingBay77Pod, on Facebook at DockingBay77Podcast, and you can send us an email, DockingBay77Podcast@gmail.com. Stop back by next week. Scott and Robert stop in the studio, and we're discussing the overlooked Disney animated movie Bolt, starring Miley Cyrus and John Travolta. Do yourself a favor, watch more movies, and remember, physical media is better than streaming. The Docking Bay 77 podcast is produced and edited by Dayton Johnson, recorded with Rode Pod mics, the Zoom PodTrack P4, and edited on Audacity. Opening music provided by Eric Jason Brock. You can find him on YouTube and Bandcamp. Thank you for listening.